Well, good morning, everybody. All right. If we could just all stand and sing together. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. And I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain. I've got strength like a mountain in my soul.
Good morning. Welcome to the Good morning. I'm Lisa Conger. I'm the lay leader for this morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane. We're glad to have you with us. UUCS is a welcoming congregation, and we appreciate your unique background, beliefs, or lifestyle. If you're one of our longtime members or have been here for a short time, or if you're joining us today for the very first time, we're delighted to have you with us. We also appreciate those of you Zooming or streaming our services. It is our mission to join together to create a nourishing liberal religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in the wider world. Or in short, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. We welcome all, including our special guest speaker, Reverend Craig Moro, speaking with us via Zoom from Oregon. Reverend Moro is a graduate of the University of Chicago and Starr King School for the Ministry. He has lived and studied in India, Singapore, Thailand, the Netherlands, and Japan. He has served churches in California, Illinois, and the Pacific Northwest, and is a founding member of the Tri-Cities Interfaith Alliance in Washington. He now lives in Portland, where he has recently been named Minister Emeritus after serving Y East UU congregation for 6 years. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Moro. Please take a few minutes now to greet one another and connect. Be sure to say hello to someone you don't know. Thank you. We'll have more time to greet one another following the service during our coffee hour. We now turn from our informal greeting of one another to formally begin our service by lighting our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, the symbol of our unity and solidarity, of our openness and inclusion, of our community and individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world, and a beacon of hope to those in need, and may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost. The sermon today is from a poem by Donald Hall, The Ox Cart Man. Our opening words for this Labor Day weekend are also from a poem, To Be of Use by Marge Piercy. The people I love the best jump into work head first, without dallying in the shallows, and swim off with sure strokes almost out of sight. They seem to become natives of that element, the black, sleek heads of seals bouncing like half-submerged balls. I love people who harness themselves, an ox to a heavy cart, who pull like water buffalo with massive patience, who strain in the mud and the muck to move things forward, who do what has to be done again and again. I want to be with people who submerge in the task, who go into the fields to harvest and work in a row and pass the bags along, who are not parlor generals and field deserters, but move in a common rhythm when the food must come in or the fire be put out. The work of the world is common as mud. Botched, it smears the hands, crumbles to dust. But the thing worth doing well done has a shape that satisfies, clean and evident. Greek amphoras for wine or oil, Hopi vases that held corn are put in museums, but you know they were made to be used. The pitcher cries for water to carry and a person for work that is real.
Let's stand and sing There Is More Love Somewhere. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. We're gonna keep on till we find it, 'cause there is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. We're gonna keep on till we make it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. We're gonna keep on till we make it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy there's more joy somewhere.
Each time we gather as a congregation, there are always those who are with us in our minds and hearts, and who we want to wrap in our love and care. We kindle light this morning for all those suffering in the war between Russia and the Ukraine, for all those suffering in the volatile Middle East conflicts, especially those living in Gaza, for those living in apprehension of ICE agents seizing them without due process, for the homeless and unsheltered. Let us share a moment in silence, embracing others who are here in our hearts this morning. You are welcome to say their names aloud as you are willing. Those named aloud and those remembered in the silence, and all those who are suffering elsewhere in our world this hour, we hold in our community of compassion. Our offertory this morning is a little bit different. You know how coins can rattle around in your pocket or way down your purse? Well, this morning we invite you to put all that loose change into our collection baskets. Instead of being a nuisance, your nickels, dimes, and quarters can help make a real difference, real change for our congregation and our community. And there is a nifty coin back at our maker's table in the back if you want to add more change later. This is all part of our fundraising campaign. Let us see how much this effort can raise for us. We now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which sustains this community and its mission to the larger world.
Thank you very much. for that performance. And let's see, we're getting a bit of an echo. I think Terry's going to fix that. There we go. Now I'm not hearing any sound. But if you're hearing me, that's okay. So my reading for this morning is Oxcart Man by Donald Hall, and the pictures are by Barbara Cooney, one of my very favorite readings for people of all ages. It's a lovely story that has a lot to do with work and is a good one for Labor Day weekend. In October, he backed his ox to his cart, and his family filled it up with everything they made or grew all year long that was left over. I'm going to have to change my position here. And take a look at these sheep, young people, and those who are young at heart. He packed a bag of wool he sheared from the sheep in April. He packed a shawl his wife wove on a loom from yarn spun at the spinning wheel from sheep sheared in April. He packed 5 pairs of mittens his daughter knit from yarn spun at the spinning wheel from sheep sheared in April. It's not April now, though. It's October, and he's packing up everything. He packed candles the family made. He packed linen made from the flax they grew. He packed shingles he split himself. He packed birch brooms his son carved with a borrowed kitchen knife. He packed potatoes they dug from their garden. But first, and this is very important, he counted out potatoes enough to eat all winter, and potatoes for seed next spring. He packed a barrel of apples, honey and honeycombs, turnips and cabbages, a wooden box of maple sugar from the maples they tapped in March when they boiled and boiled and boiled the sap away. He packed a bag of goose feathers that his children collected from the barnyard geese. When his cart was full, he waved goodbye to his wife, his daughter, and his son, and he walked at his ox's head 10 days, over hills, through valleys, by streams, past farms and villages. You see there's still some autumn leaves on the trees at this time, but 10 days is a long time in the fall. We see those changes happening. He walked until he came to Portsmouth, and Portsmouth Market, and see the beautiful little alcoves they've created in Portsmouth so that people can come in and sell their goods. I'll bet you that the town itself provided that for people who came in to do that kind of work. Wonder how they paid for it. He sold the bag of wool. He sold the shawl his wife made. He sold 5 pairs of mittens. He sold candles and shingles. He sold birch brooms. He sold potatoes. He sold apples. He sold honey and honeycombs, turnips and cabbages. He sold maple sugar. He sold a bag of goose feathers. Then he sold the wooden box he carried the maple sugar in. And then he sold the barrel he carried the apples in. Then he sold the bag he carried the potatoes in. And then he sold his ox cart. Then he sold his ox and kissed him goodbye on the nose. What happens now? Then he sold his ox's yoke and harness. With his pockets full of coins, he walked through Portsmouth Market. He bought an iron kettle to hang over the fire in the kitchen. And for his daughter, he bought an embroidery needle that came from a boat in the harbor that had sailed all the way from England. And for his son, he bought a barlow knife for carving birch brooms with. And for the whole family, he bought 2 pounds of wintergreen peppermint candies. Then he walked home with the needle and the knife and the wintergreen peppermint candies tucked into the kettle on a stick over his shoulder. See, there's not so many leaves now on those trees. The stick over his shoulder was stuck through the kettle's handle, and the coins were still in his pockets. Past farms and villages, over hills, through valleys, by streams, until he came to his farm where his family was waiting for him. He saw how bare the trees look now, 20 days, long time in the fall. And his daughter took her needle and began stitching, and his son took his Barlow knife and started whittling, and they cooked dinner in their new kettle. And afterwards, everyone ate a wintergreen peppermint candy. And that night, the ox cart man sat in front of his fire, stitching new harness for the young ox in the barn. See, that wasn't his only ox, the one he sold at market. And he carved a new yoke and sawed planks for a new cart and split shingles all winter. And I wanted to show you especially that picture of him carving the yoke. The thing he's sitting on is called a shave horse. I have one of those that I made. And what he's using to carve that yoke is a draw knife. This is mine. It's about 100 years old. My favorite tool. It's made of wonderful, beautiful steel. It's hard to find one made like this anymore. While his wife made flax into linen all winter, he carved that yoke. And his daughter embroidered linen all winter. And his son carved Indian brooms from birch all winter. And everybody made candles. The whole family at work. Their play and their work just kind of flow together. And in March, they tapped the sugar maple trees and boiled the sap down. And in April, they sheared the sheep, spun yarn, and wove and wove, and knitted and knitted. And in May, they planted potatoes, turnips, and cabbages, while apple blossoms bloomed and fell, while bees woke up and started making new honey. And geese squawked in the barnyard, dropping feathers soft as clouds. And I bet you know what will happen with those feathers come October, when it all starts all over again. I hope you enjoyed the story. And I hope you enjoy this song, which they prepared especially at my request, and which I appreciate so much I can't tell you. It's not easy to learn a new song and do it well. But here you go.
So we got a song here, actually, at the request of Reverend Moro, and then we'll let the kids have. One evening, as the sun went down and the jungle fire was burning, down the track came a hobo hiking, and he said, "Boys, I'm not turning. I'm headed for the land that's far away beside the crystal fountains. Come with me, we'll go and see the big rock candy mountains. The big rock candy mountains. There's a land that's fair and bright, where the handouts grow on bushes, and you sleep out every night, where the boxcars are all empty, and the sun shines every day on the birds and the bees and the cigarette trees and the lemonade springs and the bluebird sings in the big rock candy mountain. In the big rock candy mountains, all the cops have wooden legs, and the bulldogs all have rubber teeth, and they love their soft-boiled eggs, and the llamas are full of fruit, and the barns are full of hay. I'm bound to go where there ain't no snow, where the rain don't fall and the wind don't blow, in the Big Rock Candy Mountains. In the Big Rock Candy Mountains, you never change your socks, and little streams of alcohol come trickling down the rocks, and the brakemen have to tip their hats, and the railroad bulls are blind. There's a lake of stew and some whiskey too. You can paddle all around in a big canoe in the Big Candy Mountains. In the Big Rock Candy Mountains, all the jails are made of tin. You can walk right out as soon as you are in. And there ain't no short-handled shovels and taxes, saws, or picks. I'm gonna stay where you sleep all day, where they hung the jerk that invented work, in the Big Rock Candy Mountains. I'll see you all this coming fall in the Big Rock Candy Mountains. And now we will sing the children out. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
Thanks so much. I messed up. I messed up the order there. Oh, we got our echo again. Thank you. Okay. I'm getting a lot of strange messages about. Okay. Still got the echo, so I'm gonna. There we go. And I'm just. I'm glad the kids got a chance to dance to that song. I saw some dancers, but my draw knife fell, and that kind of distracted me. So I forgot to do my meditation in words and silence. But I can do that now, as it's very, very important. It contains the poem that Donald Hall wrote for the New Yorker originally. Whenever possible, I like to read two versions of the same story, a children's version and an adult version. Also, before I start, I've really got to thank everybody for the work that they put into making this happen. It's hard. Labor Day weekend, we should be taking a break and not having to work hard on stuff. Well, thank you so much for doing that. So here's the original Oxcart Man poem. In October of the year, he counts potatoes dug from the brown field, counting the seed, counting the seller's portion out, and bags the rest on the cart's floor. He packs wool sheared in April, honey and combs, linen, leather, tanned from deer hide, and vinegar in a barrel, hooped by hand at a fork, and sells potatoes. And the bag that carried potatoes, flaxseed, birch brooms, maple sugar, goose feathers, yarn. When the cart is empty, he sells the cart. When the cart is sold, he sells the ox, harness and yoke, and walks home, his pockets heavy with the year's coin for salt and taxes. You remember it was wintergreen candy in the book, but this is salt and taxes. And at home by fire's light in November cold, he stitches a new harness for well done and a year well spent in healthy, productive labor. It's a perfect poem. We'll be back in that poem in just a moment. But first I want to go back in a little bit into our lives. Maybe you reached sweet 16 and had never been kissed. Maybe you hadn't met the right person or weren't even thinking about such things yet, but one thing's for sure, you were starting to think about your driver's license. At least you were back when I was 16. All of my friends were. None of them were what you would call car crazy, like some kids, but they felt the pull of increased mobility that the car could confer on a licensed driver. We didn't have a shopping mall in our town. The nearest one was closer than the oxcart man's 10-day walk to Portsmouth. But still, it was too far to reach on foot unless you planned to camp there and go home next morning. I wanted my license, but was not overly eager for it. Shortly after getting hers, my sister had damaged our dad's car by dragging the side along the "May I have your order" intercom box at a fast food place. I remember that horrible scraping sound that seemed to go on forever as the white door creased and lost its paint. Shortly after this, our father suddenly died. And then, after a few months of getting fattened up by my Italian grandmother, my uncle's family had taken us in. And I dreaded doing damage to his car as I started driver's education. He ran a gas station when those still did most auto repairs, and sure, he could fix it, but how would I live it down? Still, he was insistent that I go ahead and complete the process after finishing driver's ed. Some of my friends who cared much more about driving had taken 2 or 3 times to pass the test. Maybe because I was less invested in it, I was a little calmer, though my heart was hammering when the examiner, a huge scary man about whom I'd been warned, "Better hope you don't get that guy," pointed out a couple of minor mistakes I'd made. And then he said, "Okay, go get your license." My uncle had driven me over, but now he offered to let me drive us home. I felt pretty drained, so he took the wheel instead. "So what are your plans for the weekend?" he asked. In my altered state of consciousness, I wasn't really sure, so I said, "I don't know. Maybe I could borrow the car and go to the mall or something," forgetting that the gas station was open that day and he would need the car. But he said, "No, that's not what you'll be doing. Starting Saturday, you've got a job." He needed someone to work the drive, to pump gas, pull cars into the service bays, pull them out and park them, maybe even drive a customer home and then go get them when their car was done. That person had to be able to drive legally. That person now was me. How could I say no? My uncle and aunt had been so kind to take me and my sister in when they still had a daughter at home, to add us to their family and care for all our needs. I wanted to help them with this work, and I quickly grew to enjoy it. My friends at the time were the high school poets, artists, and rebels, all from white-collar homes. I acquired a certain cool that came with wearing my blue-collared gas station's shirt with the name Ron over the pocket. Everyone called me Ronnie, and I enjoyed this alter ego. When my Craig shirts finally came in, I always found reasons not to wear them. I loved being Ron when my friends came for gas. Being Ron gave Craig a rest after all the changes that kid had been through. I wish I'd kept my Ron shirts, but this tag will have to do for now. Can I fill her up for you today? I also enjoyed the work. Even though it paid $1.69 an hour, even when it became full-time over the summer, 10 hours, 6 days a week, 15 hours if a night shift guy got sick. We had a contract to service the town's police cars, and I enjoyed meeting the cops, some of whom had also worked at my uncle's station when they were younger. I enjoyed meeting guys from the other side of the law, guys who knew guys, who did all sorts of things. I was offered expensive hi-fi equipment at a very low price. But you got to take 50 of them, Ronnie. Keep one, unload the rest, and make some real money for a change. My well-bred suburban friends love the stories, and I love telling them. But most of all, I love the way the work made me feel connected. I'd lived as a sort of a white-collar kid myself until I was 15. My dad had started out working in his father's barber shop, an immigrant from Italy, but then he became a lawyer. How could I have helped him with work like that, or even understood it? Same thing for my friends. So I felt like the lucky kid. I saw how helping my uncle helped the whole household, the economy, and the spirit of our home. For the broader community, we helped keep the police cars moving in pursuit of the outlaws, who also bought our gas and sometimes tried to sell us stuff they'd stolen. It all connected. Not quite like it does for the ox cart man and his family, but better than anything I'd known before. It's a feeling that's hard to come by. That's why the ox cart man's story makes me both happy and sad. My heart aches with longing at the perfect economy in the life of that family. They care for everything, yet they are attached to no one thing, just to their life together. Materials and animals are flowing through the household constantly. Grow the crops, make the goods, take them to market in the cart pulled by the ox, sell them, sell the cart, sell the ox, walk home and start the process all over again. Everyone contributing, everything coordinated. How could you say no to work like this? But how can you find such work these days? A few years back, I met an amazing guy named Carson who teaches bow making, this guy, to students from around the country and sells his handmade custom bows around the world. I was delighted to see how his kids played around his workshop, how they understood what Daddy does and could see how he does it, working at a shave horse just like the ox cart man's. One day, they just might do it too. Who knows? But this is something rare today, when work and home, adult and child, can seem so very disconnected. Now, some imagine that people would rather not work at all if they could avoid it. There's a poem from Europe in the 1300s that imagines a land called Caucania, where no one needs to work, where poultry and fish are found pre-cooked and pre-seasoned, and a house has many rooms and walls. Pies and pastries form the walls, made with rich fillings, fish and meat, the tastiest a man could eat. Flour cakes are the shingles all of cloister, chamber, church, and hall. The nails are puddings rich and fat. Kings and princes might dine on that. Quaint. But you just heard an American hobo song by Harry McClintock, who went by the handle Haywire Mac, about the Big Rock Candy Mountains, where you never change your socks and the little streams of alcohol come trickling down the rocks. The brakemen have to tip their hats to the homeless wandering men. And the railway bulls, that's the officers trying to keep the hobos off, right? The railway bulls are blind. There's a lake of stew and of whiskey too. You can paddle all around it in a big canoe in the Big Rock Candy Mountains. In the Big Rock Candy Mountains, the jails are made of tin, and you can walk right out again as soon as you walk in. There ain't no short-handled shovels, no axes, saws, nor picks. I'm bound to stay where you sleep all day, where they hung the jerk that invented work in the Big Rock Candy Mountains. I don't think that work itself is the problem here. It's lousy work, ill-equipped and ill-paid work that pays enough to survive, but not much more after taxes. I'm surprised that Haywire Mac had nothing to say about taxes, though I guess hobos didn't pay them. Have you ever seen an I Heart Taxes bumper sticker? You're Here's one. Now I can imagine a conservative first-time visitor saying, "See, liberals love taxes." Anyway, you're more likely to see a bumper sticker that says, "I hate Jesus," or "I hate babies." Nobody loves or even likes taxes, but you might have noticed that the ox cart man budgets for them in the poem for adults. As he walks home, his pockets heavy with the year's coin for salt and taxes. I like that. Salt and taxes. The children's story puts wintergreen candy in those pockets, sweet and delightful. But salt and taxes have a mature taste. One connects us back to life's origin in the ocean, the salt. And the other, taxes, connects us with others, with their work and their lives, and keeping up the commons that we share, like roads and bridges and waterways and those covered places to hold the market. And then there's the help we'll need in hard times or old age. Someday, all that sawing and walking and stitching will be too much for Mr. and Mrs. Oxcart, and who knows if their children will have survived to help them. Taxes can help provide some sort of, what should we call it? How about social security? But some people see all taxes as a form of stealing. And some have spent years on the TV, radio, or now the internet persuading us to see them that way too. That's their work, I guess, serving up a sort of mental fast food. It's always the same sandwich. Love religion, so long as it's the Jesus religion. Hate taxes and liberals and love guns. I don't know if that's a hate sandwich or a love one, but I do know that it has many eager consumers. Most seem unaware that Jesus himself had a soft spot for tax collectors. The Apostle Matthew made his living as one. You know, the guy who wrote the first book in the Jesus part of the Bible. He was a publican, from a Latin word that meant of the people. Publicans were private contractors, small businessmen who collected money on behalf of the Roman government in occupied Palestine. Later in Europe, they were known as tax farmers, and they got to keep a percentage of whatever they collected in the name of the crown or the feudal lord or whatever. Some were honest, but many were corrupt, often using violence or the threat of violence to enrich themselves. Tax farming was tried briefly in the U.S. under U.S. Grant's administration. Though it proved a dismal failure in the 1870s, a recent administration proposed to bring it back again in 2004. And who knows what we'll see in the near future, especially if there's ever something like a tax revolt by those states that pay in more than they take out of the current system, like Washington and California do, among others. St. Matthew probably packed a weapon when he went out to tax farm, or called armed men for help when he met with resistance. I can imagine a hit reality show built on this premise, something like Cops or Dog the Bounty Hunter. How about Publican Posse, featuring shootouts between private collectors and tax resistors, with everyone shielded from prosecution by the spread of stand your ground laws that let you shoot if you feel threatened. And what's more threatening than taxes? What a show that could be. Pow, 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 pay up now. Rat-a-tat-a-tat, I ain't doing that. Can we make taxation popular by making it a spectacle? Everything tends to be today. Or maybe it would be better to try to make it meaningful, like it is for the ox cart man, his pockets heavy with the year's coin for salt and taxes. We feel that the case for their benefit has been made for him in a clear and sober way, much better than it's been made for us. We need to do a better job with this so we can all feel like he does, that taxes are a part of the flow of economy and life in a world we share with others. Much better job. From the time we enter school or before. You should know that both the Federal Reserve and the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau have done a good job creating online lessons for kids based on the Ox Cart Man picture book. You can find them online. So to keep speaking of jobs, if Social Security gets gutted like so much else, and I have to go back to work until I die, I hope I can find work like the Ox Cart Man's. It doesn't sound easy, but it feels complete. Completely integrated from day to day, year to year, and person to person. I know that he's an imaginary figure, but he's a powerful one. Because there's something about his family's life that feels so possible. We may not know anyone quite like this family, but there's also something so familiar about them. We feel that life and work could be like this. Seems like it used to be, at least for some of us. Maybe it can be again for more of us in time, if we know that is what we really want from our jobs. So, how does your work feel to you? That's a good thing to think about on Labor Day weekend, with a day off work today and maybe one tomorrow too. Maybe I'd like to close your eyes and reflect. Does your work make you feel connected? Connected to the earth and its creatures, to life and to other people? Does this church community of ours have a kind of work that's all its own? Does the work of this community, your community, make you feel connected to other communities? Maybe your church helps you feel more like Ox Cart Man than you might have realized when you first heard the story. Why is that? Why would a church make you feel that way? It's because his work is holy. It's holy. There's a religious quality to everything about that industrious ox cart family. Their work may seem old-fashioned next to ours, but the work we do can have that same religious quality. You know what religion means, right? Obligation, bond, reverence. It's most likely from a Latin word, religare. That means to bind, to tie it all together, to make connections and to honor them. The lig part of that word, religare, is like what you hear in the word ligament. Not dead string or thread for stitching next year's harness, but a living kind of fiber that actively pulls it all together. All of it. Goose feathers, sheep's wool, flax thread, taxes, and salt from the seas where life began its ongoing labor. So listen, Ronnie here hopes he was able to top off your tank for the next leg of your journey and that you'll go back on the road with your windows just a bit more clear. I thank you all for the work you do this year and the next. Work hard, work well, work alive, and wake and aware that your work is holy. Now, Ronnie's got to knock off and get himself some lunch. Shoot me a note if you're looking to get some nice rims for your car. And blessed be.
So good. Let's stand and sing Blue Boat Home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. And I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, singing. There we go. I've been born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Thank you for the beautiful music. And Todd, to you too. Our benediction today is a Hopi prayer. Hold on to what is good, even if it's a handful of earth. Hold on to what you believe, even if it's a tree that stands by itself. Hold on to what you must do, even if it's a long way from here. Hold on to your life, even if it's easier to let go. Hold on to my hand, even when I'm gone away from you. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom.
you.